Hey, beautiful souls. It's been a while. It's been since 2020 since I've been up on here, and a lot has changed. Like, a lot. And I know you can tell from the title of this video. Um, I wanted to get my channel started back up again, get the energy flowing. I have lots of ideas and visions for this channel. So I was like, why not? Why not just get back into it? I'm over here at my grandmother's house visiting, and I was like, why not just record today? Now. Let's do this now. So here I am. Okay, so where do I start? Oh my gosh. Um, yeah. So a lot has changed, as you can see. My hair has changed. I was living in Mexico for 6.5 months. I'm in a new relationship. If you haven't heard yet, wait, let me back up. First off, moving too fast. So we've all been on this spiritual journey, right? It's been super intense. Many awakenings for everyone. The collective as a whole has shifted and is continuously shifting. A lot of planetary movements have been shaking the world up, which we see playing out in our individual lives. I said that my channel, my introduction video a long time ago, that I was going to be talking about astrology and intuition and birth and all types of, there's some other topics that I can't remember I said, but as far as the astrology goes, I'm going to be talking about it as it relates to my life versus really breaking down the planets and all of that. There's tons of channels for that. So I wanted to just weave it into my storytelling, into my channel, a little bit, not like how I visioned doing it before. Yeah, my whole channel as a whole is just shifting and changing. So what this channel is about is intuition, intimacy, and imagination. Intuition being an embodiment of self-trust, intimacy being an embodiment of the self-discovery journey, and becoming intimate with ourselves, really diving into ourselves, myself, right? Into me, I see. Intimacy, right, is about our own personal journey. And imagination, which is about self-expression. These three archetypes, energies, whatever you want to call them, are very important to me and very valuable. So my channel will be revolved around that. Ultimately, self-expression, creative self-expression, because that's what this is, YouTube is for, right? So what I want to chat with you guys about today is the question of, can you be bisexual in a lesbian relationship? Why, might you ask? If you don't know already, because I've been pretty vocal about it now, that I am in a relationship with my best friend who is a woman, and we're super happy and in love. Yeah, okay, let me stop being cheesy. But yes, that's a huge shift. It's a huge change. That is one of the biggest changes that I have made in my spiritual journey. And that is a story in itself, but it will evolve as we go along in these videos together. We're going to get real cozy. in my last video, story weaving video, I mentioned that I couldn't wait to talk about sexuality. And it was so interesting because I hadn't even made that choice yet. Me and T, we actually have a channel together, Marie. We have a long history and story and all of that we actually plan on being open and sharing about because it can help others with their identity struggles and just our just individual stories in general, like, and how it came together and all of that. So we are here to sacrifice ourselves to help other people feel comfortable in their own skin and their identity, because that is something that I personally have struggled with for a long time. And so it's super important for me to be a mirror for others who need that, because I needed that and I didn't have that, so I am here. Okay. So all the way leading up until 2020, I was in this battle back and forth of like, do I want to be with this person, I want to be with her, but I don't know if it's right for me. I don't know if it's spiritually right. I don't know if it's what I really want. What is, how, whoa, like it was a lot for me. And I actually would entertain the thought of being in a relationship with her, but I really wasn't taking it seriously. Like taking it seriously because I knew that I was going to be with the man, like, period. So when I did, so after I made that video, I swear those next 2 months in 2020 was like this huge portal open for me to like make this choice of being with her or not. Otherwise, like, because our relationship had this like been like not progressing, but we were in closeted, I guess that's the word. We were it was a secret for such a long time, and I was at the point of really like speaking so much truth and like really coming to the end of my shadow work and really wanting to just move on, and I wanted her to move on as well, and we just didn't know what that was going to look like. It's a whole story, but essentially what is my dog doing? Maisie, Mama. Okay, sorry y'all. Okay, where did I leave off at? Okay, so I was needing to make a choice so that we could move forward in our lives. And so those 2 months, I was really going through it, struggling. Like, I want to be here, but I would be risking a lot. There's so much involved. I had to think about my son, I had to think about my family. Like, I had to think, I'm the person, like, I didn't want to offend other people by making my choice. Like, my identity is so wrapped up in my family's identity and being a mother and in society who people see me as, or who I presented to them, and then making this choice that kind of didn't add up, like, wait, whoa, where did that come from? Especially because it was a hidden aspect of me. So my public persona, like, my identity was so wrapped up in those things, and other things too, probably, that I can't think of right now. But essentially it made me realize that I was living for other people's approval, other people's um, acceptance. Um, and I had my journey over the last 6 years have really been about tearing all of those structures down within me, all of those containers down, those boxes, breaking through them, um, and really coming back home to myself. Who am I? What do what do I believe? What do I think about the world? Because, like I said, my identity was wrapped up in those other things, from programming, societal programming, family programming, all of those things. So for me, I received a lot of validation and recognition through family and through community because I have a well known family, like in the small town and all of that. So I really didn't realize how I was living my life through and for other people for a long time. So, I mean, for my whole life, right? So it it took me some work to really get to being myself and expressing myself and really showing up for myself in ways. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like, there's so much. And I am excited about this story weaving because this is essentially what I really, really wanted to do. I've had this desire to share, this desire to be open and be free and talk freely and just be myself. But it has taken me so super long to get to this point. Like, so super long. And I remember in my first, do you remember, if you go watch my intro video, I said, I don't know why it's hard for me to talk on camera. I'm so shy. But they say if you have a fear of speaking on camera, if you have a fear of just putting yourself out there, that it's because you're holding on to some secrets, and or that because there's something within you that you don't want to be revealed. And I believe that. Like, that is true. It was true for me. It may not be true for everybody, but that was true for me. So, me, and okay, there's so much, oh my gosh, so much wrapped up in so going through, teasing apart, like going through the sections of my chart. And that's been the journey for the last 6 years, taking it section by section, feeling by feeling, spending time with it, teasing all the things apart, digging inside of everything, using all the tools, man, and getting to the root, right? And it's funny because I was making all these breakthroughs, especially over the last 3 years, breakthrough, breakthrough, breakthrough. And then boom was the big thing. And in my chart, I have Chiron in the 8th house, which Chiron is the wounded healer, where your deepest wound is. It represents a bunch of other things, but I'm gonna focus on your deepest wound. And my deepest wound is in the 8th house, which is the house of, or governs over, your sexuality, all the taboo things, your sexual identity, taxes, money, stuff like that. What else does it represent? Death, all of that. So, of course, my deepest wound, death, which I don't know, like my mother died when I was 18, or transitioned, I should say, when I was 18. So that rings true. And sexuality. Okay. Sexuality and my, as a whole, is a huge, huge thing for me. Man, it's a story in itself. But essentially, that was the last kind of like shadow darkness thing that I had to like really come to terms with and really work with. I ended up, obviously, making a choice to be with my best friend because that was where my heart is. That was where my heart was. I've been on this journey of following my heart, listening to my body, listening to what I really, really feel, and choosing those things because it's a journey, right? We're on this spiritual journey, right? People say that it's cute to say, oh, we're spiritual beings having human experience. It's very cute, but people are not really ready to do the work that comes with that. Like, people are not really to make the choices, the new choices that we're supposed to make right now. Okay. And don't let me get all transmissiony and preachy and stuff because yeah. Anyway, but I'm going to focus on me. I was ready to do the work. I am ready to do the work. I've been doing the work and I'm continuing to do the work. And making this choice is something that I needed so bad, so deeply, so that I can learn how to accept myself, so that I can learn how to love myself, so that I can learn how to show up for myself, so that I can learn how to speak truth, so that I can learn how to show up like this and be totally authentic, totally raw, totally real, totally me, like me. This is who I am, especially when no one is around. Like, I'm talking, I'm making connections multidimensionally. I am like, yeah. So it's real. And also this choice has allowed me to receive love. It's allowed me to receive acceptance, being totally accepted. Yeah. Feel totally accepted, feel safe, feel all the things that I've been working for, that joy, that love, that safety, the appreciation, the recognition, all of that. And not that I'm was ever looking for it in another person, because I believe that we are the ones that validate ourselves and we are the ones that give ourselves the love and all that stuff. But this choice has helped me align. Even before I made the choice, it helped me align with those feelings and give it to myself, but then help me to see what it feels like outside of myself, if that makes any sense, externally, and receive it. Because in past relationships that I've had, I've not been able to be myself. I've not been fully loved, I've not been accepted. I've not been all the things, man. Like, to be more specific, what I meant was that I didn't allow myself to be who I was. I didn't love myself or accept myself in those relationships. It's not their fault that I chose to be with them when I was insecure and not fully aware of who I was or had come into my understanding of myself. So I'm not blaming them for my choice to be in those dynamics at that time. Those relationships were strong medicine and catalyst into me becoming, for sure, and activated me into more of knowing myself and who I am and what I deserve and all of that stuff. So just wanted to say that. It's been 22 minutes already. See, we're trying to make videos short, but oh, and I'm drinking some tea, and this is not to be funny, because we're talking tea right now and drinking tea. Okay, anyway, but tea, there's red raspberry leaf in here, there's nettle, there's red clover, there is lemon, grass. There is, what else did I put in here? Passion flower and something else, but I can't remember. But very nurturing, nourishing tea. Okay, essentially, I am in a lesbian relationship, but I consider myself, if I had to label, because I don't even like the label stuff. Like, I don't like, okay, what I should say is that I've learned to appreciate labels, because with labels and identifiers, you can find a tribe and you can connect with people and feel like you belong somewhere, right? So the label, the 3D label that I resonate with the most on the spectrum of the LGBTQ 2 plus. Yeah, all of those. LGBTQ plus. Okay. The label that I resonate with the most is bisexual, because I love men. That is the truth. I love men. I love masculinity. I love all of that. Just because I made a choice to be with a woman doesn't mean I'm like the toxic side of feminism and all of that stuff. Like, I don't even get into all of that. I don't even get into politics. I really could care less about me personally. I just look at it as, my individual experience and my lens. And so I love men. And if I wasn't with this woman, I would be with a man. But my heart won, and I love this woman. So okay, I had to interrupt, because watching this back, I'm like, me and Tia talk about this all the time, but is that really true? If I wasn't with her, I would be with a man? How am I to know that? Because it was Tia's masculine energy that I was attracted to, that got me, that met my desire, however you want to frame that. But if somebody who wasn't a man came to me and gassed me up, loved me up, all of that, just in the same way as Tia, would I be attracted to them? Would I potentially be with that person? I don't know. It's very interesting to think about. But all I know is to, like they say never, because you just never know. My situation is kind of weird, kind of interesting, and I haven't met anyone yet. Not saying that they're not out there, but I haven't met anyone yet, and I would love to. So please comment below if this is you. If you are normally sexually attracted to men and emotionally attracted, all the things, like your attraction overall is for men, but you chose to be with a woman. Let me know if that's you. I've had experiences with girls before when I was younger. And that's a whole other story. But that's just like sexual experimentation and you know, that type of thing. Oh, somebody's calling me. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. That was my love calling, interrupting our session together. But oh, that's what I was saying. I've had experiences when I was younger, but that was like sexually experimenting, young stuff that, you know, just young stuff. And so I I never considered myself, I've never even thought of being with a woman. I've never wanted, like, fantasize about it. I never watched lesbian porn. Like, it was just never on my, I'm not even sexually attracted to women. I'm emotionally attracted to women, like, emotionally connect. This is why I've held women's spaces, birth worker, like, yes, to the emotional connection in the community and being with women and that. But as far as being turned on by women, mm-mm. I love y'all, but that's not my first attraction. So it was very interesting, like that. I was very confused by my own self, but essentially, what I always remember and go back to, that we are on a spiritual journey. We are souls, right? There's lots of layers to it. There's many dimensions to how we are experiencing ourselves and our lives in this vessel, which is not what we were taught, right? We don't know how to do these things, or we don't know these things because we weren't taught these things. But those of us who are really tuned into ourselves and really tuned into the world and our collective in a very multi-dimensional way, you understand what I'm saying, you know, like there's layers to it. Um, and so for me, I made a choice based on my soul's journey, right? For my soul to grow. I wanted soul growth. And for me, this is what that looks like. And it's not for anybody to understand, right? Because it's our personal journey. And so I've had to learn how to stop explaining things to people and stop, you know, even battling with myself about it. Like, be and not battling with the choice, but battling with the loss that comes with it, you know, battling with, yeah, the loss that comes with it, because a whole part of you, parts of you, dies when you shift your whole identity, you shift what people knew you as, and you shift just everything. And so it really shook some stuff up. You know, it really changed a lot of dynamics. But I knew that, right? This is why it was a secret for so long, because I knew the impact it would have, um, and didn't want people to see me in a different light. The fear, right? But I was in a point in my life and in my journey where it's like, and y'all know I talk about fear and all of that all the time. Like, I'm all about breaking through the fear, like breaking, like going to it, going into your pain, going into the fear, going into that, and really essentially just opening it up and allowing it to do its thing, making choices that you need to make. And so for me, like, I'm living that, like, that is my life. So I want to know, is there anybody else basically that is out there that really, who considers themselves bisexual in a lesbian relationship, um, a lesbian dynamic? And my partner, my love, she doesn't, we talk about this all the time. So this ain't nothing, like, she's very hard to offend, actually. Like, I'm like super open and super raw with who I am and where I am, in our relationship. And so is she. And so she's very accepting of, like, this is who I am. And that's what I feel like. I think when people get in relationships, they lose their identity, which is like, and lose their individuality and whatnot, and get wrapped up and lost the in the relationship. And that's when people say, oh, I lost myself or whatever. And I feel like this is where the identifiers do come in handy, um, because I'm like, oh, okay, this is who I am in this dynamic. This is who she is in this dynamic when it comes to sexuality or sexual orientation or sexual identity, whatever you call it. But I am, I struggled with it because I'm like, but I don't like women, and I like men, and I don't like I don't understand, like, so where am I? Like, who am I? What am, like, so I was like, if I had a label to put on it, then I would definitely be under the bisexual umbrella. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. And I know that there's a lot of, um, I've read, I should say, that there is a lot of heat around being bisexual. And as far as being accepted, you're kind of not accepted by heterosexuals, heteronormative relationships, or heterosexual identities, and you're not accepted by homosexual identities. And there's this whole beef amongst the crews. I mean, that's too much for me. But I guess that is a part of why, on a higher level, that is also why I am here. Because I want people who are like me, who are kind of like not attached to the labels and to the whole identity thing and whatnot, like, that there is someone else out here who just is, like, you just, um we just are who we are, like. And sex is like, sexuality is ever evolving, ever changing. Our souls are ever evolving, ever changing. Our identities as a whole, just identities, period, is ever evolving, ever changing. Our relationship statuses, our thoughts, our emotions, our, like, we just our beings, right? So we are always ever evolving and ever changing. And having that ability, like, I wish that people could just take identifiers and just be like, oh, this is great. I have the ability to make choices, which is free will, right? Like, I have the ability to make a choice. That's freedom. And not be so judge ourselves for our choices, not box ourselves in our choices, not go to toxic or dark side or argue with people about our choices, but celebrate our choices. Like, celebrate your choice, celebrate who you are, celebrate it, and just kind of like just be, just be and express in a beautiful way. So it's important for people to own their identities. It's important for people to own their whatever that is. Own your story, because it's shifting the collective into much, much, much more than we could ever imagine. So, yeah, I guess I needed to like get on here to just ramble so I can start again, start fresh, and get things moving on this channel. I kind of threw like a mouthful out there, but I feel like with each post, like, just more of my story will come together. I guess that's why I'm calling it story weaving, because we're weaving all the pieces together, right? I had all this. When you go through your spiritual journey, it's as if you like bust through. Once you hit the bottom, when you hit the bottom and you reach all the things and you finally hit that bottom. And I think I talked about this in an hour-long video that I was in the thick of my spiritual journey. I don't even know what it's called, but I'll somehow link it. But when you hit the bottom, it's like a boom, and it like breaks everything out. So like expands and like in little pieces. It's like glass breaking. Like glass breaking. Just like, and it like spreads out. And it's all out there, and you're just like, whoa, you're like a baby, like fresh out the womb. You're like, whoa, your hands are just crazy. And you're like, what is all this space? What is all of this? These lights, this, because you're just like, you just uncovered all the things, and you're like, whoa. And all of those fragmented pieces are all out there. And somehow you have to mend them back together, right? You have to bring them together. And that's story weaving, right? That's the putting them back together. And what happens when you mend them and sew them, weave them back together? It's a whole new form. It's a whole new being, right? Like that is exactly where I'm at right now in my journey. So I want to weave with y'all and just be super vulnerable, super open, and super me. Just super me. Love and blessings, y'all. Good night.